So first of all, thanks to EA Game Changers for giving me a copy of the pack. At this stage, I've invested a good bit more time into looking at Realm of Magic, so feel more confident about my opinions. There are not going to be opinions shared by everyone, of course, because how you'll feel about Realm of Magic kind of depends on what type of player you are. Players have practically begged EA for a return of witches and really fleshed out occults for a while now. They want to play something different and feel powerful. Did Realm of Magic provide that? For sure, yes it did. I just don't think we thought of what the game would be like with it. First, let's look at where you start, then what playing a caster is like, and go over most of their features. Glimmerbrook is the new town, while the Magic Realm is just a place you visit. There's nothing wrong with Glimmerbrook other than the very boring EA builds that didn't really take advantage of the new objects. I was expecting whimsical little cottages and a really decked out magical mansion for the wizard family that already lives there. All in all, these are problems you can correct on your own or with the galleries, so they're not a major strike against the pack. However, it's a problem players have noted for a long time, and with all the talent out there, they could certainly come up with some good builds for Worlds, or bring someone on board who loves it the way some of you do. The Magic Realm, on the other hand, is a mixed bag. It's at once very pretty, but has some strikes against it for atmosphere. Unfortunately, this isn't so easy to fix on your own. For one, the build problem carries over to the very dryly named Magic HQ in the center of the one giant lot. To be blunt about it, it's very boring and empty. It reminds me of a barn. Someone else said a frat house, and I definitely agree. Players can cheat to modify this lot, but it's requiring them to fix it themselves, which stinks because there are some nice objects in the pack that could have made this look a bit better. But they went for large open rooms and it kind of drags it down. There just isn't a lot going on. I mentioned atmosphere, and the reason the atmosphere is not great is not the visuals here. They're fine. It's the visits by random Sims from all the other neighborhoods. Like, does anyone expect Malcolm Landgrab to be a wizard? No. Someone said that the Sims visiting the Magic Realm are becoming casters, and they really are. Despite the fact Malcolm is at work while I pulled him into my game, he has the Spellcaster trait when I cheat him into my family. So I go and check and confirm other Sims I've seen there are now set as Spellcasters if I try to play them. I've linked to a mod in the description that can prevent this for you. This strange choice, bug, whatever, and just bumping into well-known Sims like Belagoth is jarring to about everyone I've seen mention it. We'll have more to say about the Magic Realm as it relates to playing this thing, but let's look at Spellcasters now. This is where they put in the most effort. It was definitely a foreshadowing that in order to be a Spellcaster, you just do a simple fetch quest. Once you're in, you level up with several abilities, from dueling to seeking magical tomes in the library to actually utilizing or practicing magic. Casting a spell gives your sim a little charge, which feels good to them at first, but quickly turns stressful as the meter gets higher. You've got to let this decay some, so you're encouraged to pace magic use in a small way. Nothing here is particularly bad. In fact, in some cases, it's pretty good. Your Sim's animations improve as they level up, and you do get a sense of growing confidence in them. Especially when they knock their first sage on their ass, beating a supposed master in a duel. Magic can blow up in your face and even kill you if you go too far into the overcharged state and have a failure. Well, at least one person I know of has lost a Sim to overcharge casting their first spell. It's going to be more common that you need to be extremely neglectful for that to happen. You'll need to spam tons of spells and get really greedy in most cases. Charge gives Sims a little penalty to failure, but a boost to durations for certain spells. This is supposed to be the kind of thing that keeps players from going ballistic with spells, but perks and mastery gradually drop charge down to where it barely matters. Also, do I really care if I cast a sad spell on a Sim and it lasts 2 hours or 4? Fire isn't more deadly when overcharged because evidently setting fire to people is mean, or arson, or murder. Practice and learn, and your sim will rank up as a spellcaster. The perk system is pretty good, with specializations in particular magic types possible. Well, not specializations, as you can eventually get them all. You may, however, choose to make your sim really good at practical magic by the 3rd rank and reduce the odds of failure and charge buildup from casting. Sims only become truly the same when you get past the master level and start to pick up every single perk. At that point, 2 wizards will be almost exactly alike. Getting to unlock everything isn't such a big problem. Players want to do that, so I'm not really complaining here. Sims can be cursed by failures to cast magic or consuming bad potions. These curses may have differentiated Sims to some degree, like the vampire weakness system, but they're something you'll only deal with for a brief time in the early stages. You can choose to keep one if you want a challenge, but they aren't balanced around that idea. They're balanced around, get this shit off me as soon as possible. And the game gives you a few ways to do that. Spells are mostly not entirely new effects, but rather effects we've seen before if you're someone who buys every pack. Freezing Sims is Scientist's Ray Gun. Copying things and making duplicate objects, again, Scientists from Get to Work. There is a spell that lets you steal things, a lot like the Kleptomaniac trait. Fire, well, it's fire. Spellcasters are meant to be strong, so I don't take too much issue with the power of some of these abilities. I just expected more new ones. There are a few out there, like the ability to instantly spawn a fully grown plant or the ability to force 2 Sims to fight or make out. You can probably cause some drama, especially if you make your Sim sneaky with Spellslinger and cast spells far away. The same problems of effects we've seen before carry over to the Alchemy recipes, which are littered with several emotional tinkering effects, which as a player, I'm just really tired of. The rest are super powerful. Your first potion unlock is a full needs refill, and you only need 1 apple to craft it. You can get death-proof potions, immortality, forced friendship, and a dozen others. Like, for the potion needs, while it's possible to fail, it's less likely as you gain a couple ranks. This is a level 1 potion. When you succeed in crafting it, you'll get 4 of them, meaning you can stay up and practice magic for 4 days straight. While you can drink a potion and have a bad effect, drinking the same potion again will cancel out the bad effect. You can try until you overwrite the bad with the one you wanted, so long as you have enough of them. So where things get weird for me is the rapid spell unlocks and how easy it is to just learn everything. You're only slowed down by the required ranks for spells, but you're encouraged to get perks early on that amplify experience gains. One gives XP just for talking to sages, with new dialogue choices like discuss potion failures that give XP. What's more, at like 10 to 20% relationship bar, you can ask the sages for free potion recipes and spells for your spell book, and there's 3 sages. You could do this every couple hours. Now just practice schools where you're still missing a spell and you'll have it all very quickly. Even before this moment, there's less reason to go to the magic realm as time wears on. You can go there for ingredients, but there's so little to be done it quickly becomes a novelty, and seeing Sims duel and watching Jeffrey Lamb grab and make potions isn't very entertaining. Maybe it's due to the lot being so focused that this happens, because Sims randomly choose activities, so they all hopping on a broom, dueling, and brewing. Spellcasters can pass their power to offspring in a pretty cool system. The magical bloodline trait goes from weak to strong and then ancient. When they have a baby, it looks at whichever parent has a better bloodline trait and it passes on a new rank based on that. So if a parent was weak, the next generation would get strong. But only if they're manifested as a caster. Interestingly, it looks like it can also dilute. So if you have a non-wizard with ancient bloodline, which is certainly possible, and they pass it on without having ever manifested spellcaster powers, they will give their offspring a strong bloodline. So it effectively gets weaker over time, which is cool. I'd have liked to have seen more done with the dueling mechanics, maybe some extra potent curses that are more challenging to cure, and a few more new types of effects that we've never seen before. So I'd say to some extent, my big gripe with Realm of Magic is where it throws the player a challenge, it gives a trivially easy solution, easy to the point where you may as well have never had a problem in the first place. Take curses, they're extremely annoying, but you can buy potions at the shop in town, and curse cleansing is one on that list. Additionally, when you unlock a potion, you're automatically given a sample in your inventory. The problem with this is that you can then use the copy-pasto spell to make a duplicate. You may never even need to brew a potion in the first place because of this mechanic. If you do fail and lose the potion in the process, you can simply head to the shop in town to get rare ingredients and duplicate those instead. Familiars are a thing, and they primarily serve to ward off death from overload. If you have a familiar out when you die, the familiar will use its energy to restore you, but you don't lose it in the process. This applies to cats and dogs as well as the provided floating stalker familiars. They go on cooldown for a full week before this ability can be used again, but if you're mindful, you shouldn't ever have a problem with Spellcaster charge in the first place. Because, well, there's a rank 1 spell, Discharge, that gets rid of all your caster charge with no penalty, except an 8-hour cooldown. You can take this very early and always use it when your sim is over 50% charge, which is around where things get risky. It's theoretically possible to die much sooner, but in general it takes a lot of spell spamming to have this happen, and you have an ace in the hole, so to speak, with the familiars protecting you. There's also a potion of prompt resurrection you can duplicate that can protect you from death for up to 2 days with a similar auto resurrection feature. The spell Herbio, that makes magnificent plants also further degrades gardening and gives you a quick path to magnificent everything. It may not spawn all plant types, but you just need some random herb plant to graft to, and bam, you've got perfect plants, which with the seed packets you can buy, you don't even go through the evolution process. So maybe even if you disagree with me, you can see where I'm coming from. With basic knowledge of the systems, the way things are set up means that pacing your usage of magic, potions failing, curses, and even death from overcharge don't really matter. It gets to where you're so OP and have so little to worry about, it's not really like The Sims anymore. If you're a player who likes building and want to make those little magical cottages and wizard mansions, you definitely can with this pack. Some of the build items also have nice regular looking swatches, so you can use them even if you don't, and they have a great style. But if you're someone who likes the RPG mechanics and building up a sim, the lack of any challenge here will just leave you feeling like you're cheating with needs on static. It breaks the Sims core gameplay loop. You can now just live in a house that has a cauldron and not ever need to do any of the needs management that makes The Sims a life simulation because of the extent that power is handed to you. You might need a kitchen to feed your family, but there's a spell to make food, so you can just stock leftovers for them or maybe give them potions. Plenty of people are fine with Sims 4 having next to no difficulty. I mean, you've told me so. I understand where you're coming from as a casual player. So to you, I would say take my opinion with a grain of salt. If you like strategy and RPG mechanics in Sims and still enjoy taking care of your Sims and building them up, you may not like how rapidly you gain every power of substance in the game. With this option available, most other options become obsolete or comparatively weak. But things are not all bad. If you want an OP spellcaster class, this has you covered, and you'll likely enjoy power tripping with maxed out virtuoso. There are considerations to be made about the state it's in at the moment, with the need to use a mod to prevent half the town turning into witches, or bugs that crash the game, making a caster and cast just because they're playing this new animation. All in all, I think many players will want this pack, but you might want to use mods to improve it, or wait a bit for things to be fixed up if you're on Xbox or PlayStation and don't have access to mods. Looking at all this from another perspective, having systems built by EA and supported in code gives modders more options, so they're going to be able to do a lot with these systems, and maybe make unique types of casters with their own schools of magic, and certainly let you be a vampire spellcaster hybrid. This improves those options, and of course some people are going to inevitably turn the magic realm into one giant Hogwarts, which I look forward to. Okay, so that's my opinion. Like it or hate it, that's what I think about the pack, and I don't like the way that Sims is getting easier and easier, and how everything is just handed to you because it completely dilutes accomplishment. Bear in mind that some of the people that are critical of The Sims love The Sims and want to see it return to its past form, and that's why we're kind of waiting on that. I don't like this direction. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great week, and enjoy the pack if you like it. I most certainly don't hate it. I just have my gripes.